Yeah, you know me, I'm Carlin Charleston, the executive director of Erase Races, the American Unity Movement. And the events of this past week have been particularly disturbing to all Americans. But the reality is, I mean, this is America. This is what a democratic republic or a republic really looks like. It's got this form of protest that while many of us may get upset with it, this is usually the impetus for some change, and often change that needs to happen in our country. Of course, all of these protests are not created equally, and so you can't all judge them the same, but ultimately they all seem to have an impact of bringing about some change that's doing our country. Of course, now having said that, what's amazing to me is that in our country, we have an issue like the George Floyd killing that I'm sure 99% of the country agrees. Yet we still get a media that can find a way to separate us and divide us and make it a very contentious issue. And so you have protests where everybody seems to have someone that they're fighting against. And so that's very disturbing, but it is part of the reason that 2 years ago, I quit my job of teaching of 12 years so that I could begin the American Unity Movement, because this isn't something new. And so I don't have the emotional response that most people have to these events. And people think that maybe I don't care the same way or that I don't have the proper view of it. No, what I do have a proper view of is the work required to bring about the unity that we need in this country. And I think that more of us need to have that in our hearts and our minds, that it's going to require work, and it's not going to happen just because we decide we're upset about this particular event and we want to protest. And so while yes, you have that emotion and that emotion can be fine, but we've got to find a way to channel that into something productive and constructive so that we can make a better country. And that's what we're doing at the American Unity Movement. So if you're really looking for somewhere to come and put your frustration into something that's going to have some long-term effects, then come and join us at the American Unity Movement. Because the reality is, in each decade, we seem to have had these issues of protests. I mean, this started in 1992, of course, Rodney King, and even before then, as we came out of civil rights, but 1992 with Rodney King, and every decade we have something like this happen, and maybe multiple events. And so I don't think we're getting a crescendo or more of these events happening. It's simply that we've got more visibility of the fact that these things are happening. But knowing that these things are happening, what is our action? What are we driven to do? Are we upset and just want to vent our frustration? Or do we want to bring about the change that we know that our country needs? We've got very bad history. We've got a lot of change to make, but there are a lot of people who want to bring about this change. Like I said, 99% of people are surely upset with the officer and what he did with George Floyd. Why can't we build a consensus of all those people come together and let's do something constructive for our country? Because that's what we need. So if you got any issues, go to the American Unity Movement, eraseraces.com, look us up, join us. We can make this change happen, and we need to.